Okay, after we have our basic setup, the groups and profile panels, why don't we mesh? That means we go online and we see other groups on the Artsmesh. This is, as I said, the local tab. Switch to the live tab to see other groups and users on the Artsmesh. You can mouse over and get the information of the user. You will see the public and private IP. You can, here's a little detail. I didn't switch to a public IP because I have an IPv6 address, which we'll talk about later, but that's what I use in my studio in Beijing. So I don't need a public IPv4 address at the moment. Shows that I'm on IPv6 and that I'm meshed with IPv6. I might as well go to this. Preferences. I show you that I have checked the mesh use IPv6 and heartbeat use IPv6. And you'll see this little button means we're heartbeating to the server. It's the global Artsmesh server, not to be confused with the local Artsmesh server. Okay. Might as well set up our audio preferences. You can see my hardware audio device is Fireface. And we're going to set our sample and buffer size to something. We usually use 44.1 and 128 buffer size. And my interface channel is, I have a few channels, but I'm limiting it to 4. And I also, it's called Artsmesh Mixer here, Artsmesh Client Mixer. I just put 2, it's just for testing. And you can also have some virtual input and output channels. If you only have like 2 input and output channels on your hardware, such as a MacBook, where you only have built-in input and output with 2 channels, you can actually have a couple more virtual channels if you want to do that. I save. Here's my jack trip preferences. This is for the audio streaming, uncompressed multi-channel audio, but I have some default parameters here. Channel count 2, 4, 1. Talk about that in another tutorial. But my bit rate, I will always have 24 as opposed to 16. Don't worry about these for now. Here's my video preferences. We won't use this in this tutorial, but we'll just set that now. These are for the broadcasting. The audio for the broadcasting, but we don't use the audio for the live broadcast to YouTube or Facebook because we are using uncompressed audio in another place. Here's the OSC group settings. OSC groups is control data like MIDI, but it's a little more high resolution, and it goes over UDP very nicely. If you just observe what settings I have here and set your settings to the same, except for the server addresses. We'll talk about that later, don't worry about it. But these do, you can set them identically. Server port 22242, local port 22241, send port 22243, and listen port 22244. The username you can say default, user password default, group name default, group password default. And the UI will set those for you later. Make sure your monitor address is 127.0.0.1 and monitor address is 22230, and save. These are the accounts. This is to the microblog, which I'll show you in a minute. And this is to your YouTube live channel login. So with this OSC group thing, I just say, I'll show you what that is right here. This is for the control data. So what I do is, I'm only running a client. I could run a server up here on the top right in my studio, but I don't need the server to run in the studio now. I'll just use the one that's running on Artsmesh IO, and I'll turn that on. But because I'm in China, I'm using IPv6, and I turn that on. And that means that I can send some touch OSC information or something to anybody in my group. And I also have this chat thing, and we chat over OSC. And you can detach that if you want, and close that. So this accounts preference over here to Artsmesh IO. This is the social panel over here. And I've logged in my preferences already. And this is our microblog. So this is where sort of our cloud, where you can save your user. I'm logged in as admin. And I could go to somebody and I can subscribe to them or unsubscribe. Here's the timeline, my own. Here's the home. This is a GNU Social. It's a federated microblog. This is to outside. I'm following this one account outside. These are the archive groups on our server. Tags, and users. These are the users on this particular server, and most people use this Artsmesh IO server. You can too, but you could use your own. That'll be another tutorial. Here's all the events. You can follow Ken Field's events. And these are admin's events. Actually, and these are the global events, not just follow your own here, and these are the public ones. Okay, these are followers, followed, groups, and the users you're following. We'll talk about that in the social panel more later. Close that. This is our routing circle. This is for the audio. For the video, which we use FFmpeg. Audio uses jack audio and jack trip. And this is it's called Siphon video. It's an inter-application video. And we'll talk about that later too. I can't talk about everything now. It's a little complex. Lots of stuff in here. But for now, this is the audio routing tab.